We begin in Southern California, where wind-driven wildfires are now responsible for the deaths of at least 21 people in LA County. Thousands of structures destroyed or damaged in these fires. And there are 3 active wildfires right now, the biggest being the Palisades fire at more than 23,000 acres, or about half the size of Washington, D.C. That fire currently 13% contained. The Eaton fire, burning in the Pasadena-Altadena area, burned more than 14,000 acres and is at 27% containment. And the Hearst fire at almost 800 acres is almost completely contained. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection says both the Palisades and the Eaton fires are now among the 5 most destructive fires in the entire state of California since 1932. Meanwhile, fire agencies are investigating whether downed equipment from power company SoCal Edison played a role in sparking the Hearst fire. CBS News correspondent Elise Preston reports near the Eaton fire, that one in Pasadena and Altadena, on the damage there so far.
Here in the Altadena-Pasadena area, 7,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed, like this home right here, where you can see the walls have caved in, and the only thing left standing is the fireplace. So many homes look like this here, where the Eaton fire has just devastated the area. It looks like a war zone, and the threat is far from over. The winds are expected to pick back up later this week and expected to top out at 70 miles per hour. Before those winds kick back in, firefighters spent the weekend working extremely hard trying to contain the fire. The Eaton fire now stands at 27% containment. Meanwhile, overnight, the LA coroner's office updated the death toll from these fires. At least 24 people have died, 16 right here from the Eaton fire. 8 people died from the Palisades fire, and many more are still missing. Those families are frantically searching for their loved ones, and they're hoping to be reunified as this threat continues. Elise Preston, CBS News, Altadena, California.
Fire crews have been working around the clock, and they have made amazing progress. But today, we're having the winds pick up yet again.
Exactly. And now the National Weather Service has issued another red flag warning, high wind warnings down there. And of course, inevitably, now they have air quality alerts widespread throughout that region. So community members down there are gearing up for another big wind event with wind gusts this week forecasted anywhere up to around 70 miles per hour. So as we zoom in a little bit to Southern California, there's a lot of colors on that map, but basically what it's showing is the advisories. The pink is showing the red flag warning, the air quality alert in the gray, and it's wide stretched throughout Los Angeles. So let's zoom out real fast, and I want to show you what's happening for us as we head into the coming days. Right around the corner, I mean, we could see wind gusts this afternoon already up to around 50 miles per hour close to the Palisades fire, and those winds are moving offshore. So from high to low elevation, that air condenses, it dries up, and it moves offshore. They're not getting that nice Pacific breeze that they're used to during this time of year. Now we're watching these winds stay strong into the overnight hours tonight. The winds are supposed to peak tomorrow. We could see gusts anywhere up to around 70 miles per hour up into the hills close to Altadena. And I mean, over the weekend, they were already seeing similar numbers. So the winds haven't let up yet. It's not until Wednesday afternoon where we're going to see a big shift in it. This is just 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Notice those winds still staying strong anywhere from Malibu all the way up into the hills close to Chatsworth. I mean, even up to around 72 mile per hour winds were forecasted over the weekend, and we got that. Altadena, a very similar trend. Altadena actually had reported winds up to around 100 miles per hour just around this time last week. So as we take a look at the fire weather outlook, we see that extreme risk mostly in the Santa Clarita Mountains. That's the big fixation. However, we move just a little bit south of that, and there's still that critical risk anywhere all the way down into areas like Temecula, close to San Diego too, and we continue to monitor that as those red flag warnings will last until Wednesday. Liz?
All right, Jess, thank you so much. And as these fires continue raging, misinformation about the disaster has also spread online. The CBS News confirmed team has been investigating some of these concerns, and that includes some questions about the California prison inmates who have been helping firefighters working to contain the flames. Let's bring in Melissa Mahtani, the executive producer for CBS News Confirmed. Melissa, thank you so much for being with us. You've looked at the program and how it works. What did you find?
So California offers incentives for incarcerated people who serve as firefighters. They can earn money and they get days off their sentence. I spoke to CDCR, that's the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, on Sunday, and they told me that nearly 1,000 prisoners are assisting firefighters at the moment. 931 to be exact, with 114 support staff. Now, they're part of a program called Conservation Fire Camps. This has 35 locations across California, and there are similar programs in at least 13 other states. Participation in this program is voluntary. People convicted of violent crimes are not eligible. And the prisoners get training, and then they mainly focus on support work. And that includes everything from cutting fire lines to removing vegetation to cooking at base camps and doing laundry. The tasks like spraying fire retardants or holding hoses against active flames are not given to inmates. Now, the prisoners are paid in two ways for participating in this program. So it's a wage and then time towards their sentence. The program pays up to $10.24 daily. That's the maximum on a day. And during an active emergency like the one we're seeing right now, CAL FIRE pays an extra $1 per hour to every inmate for those who are working on an active fire crew. Now, critics have said this is woefully underpaid because it's not even the minimum wage, which is just over $16. But supporters of the program say that out of all of the work that inmates can do, this is one of the more lucrative ones. And then in terms of days back, prisoners can earn 2 days off their sentence for every day served if they're in an active fire crew. And for the support staff, they earn 1 day off their sentence for every day served.
And, you know, there is some controversy with this because they are paid significantly less than professional firefighters, but in many cases they are putting themselves at an even greater risk than those. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so a Time magazine investigation from 2018 found that inmates were 8 times more likely to be injured after inhaling smoke and other things than professional firefighters. Now, there's a lot of factors that play into this, right? Like their backgrounds, their lifestyles. These aren't career firefighters, people who've dreamed of being a firefighter their whole life. But of the inmate firefighters who have spoken to the media, they've said they would much rather be in these camps. Despite the grueling conditions of fighting fires, it's much better than being in a locked up cell. Here they have some freedom to move around. They can go and they can, like, in these camps, play pool or watch TV and move more freely. There's also been controversy about how difficult it can be for inmates who've served as firefighters to get jobs once they've completed their sentence. Now, this is obviously much like a part of a much bigger problem because it's difficult for anyone with a criminal conviction to find work. But in 2020, California Governor Gavin Newsom did sign a law to try to make it easier to expunge the record of inmates who have served as part of California's inmate firefighting program. Now, you'll remember 2020 was obviously the beginning of the pandemic, so hiring patterns across the board were very different. But it will be very interesting to keep an eye on these current inmate firefighters to see what kind of job prospects they get when they finish their sentence.
All right, CBS News confirmed executive producer Melissa Mahtani. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, let's go now to CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano, who is on the ground there in Pacific Palisades, the site of the largest fire burning in LA County right now. Lilia, thank you so much for being with us. I hope you're staying safe. You know, we're hearing about these winds starting to pick up again. Can you tell us where you are, and are you starting to feel the winds where you're at?
We have not started feeling those winds quite yet. The predictions and for this, for the red flag warnings and the very extreme fire conditions are going to worsen overnight, beginning at around 4 a.m. Tomorrow morning. Right before dawn is when we expect that worst of those winds, up to maybe 60 miles an hour, to start really hitting this area. Where I am right now is in Pacific Palisades. You can see a little bit of the devastation, but wherever you look, there are destroyed homes. What firefighters have been working on over the last couple of days is what they call a fire line around the Eaton fire that has burned more than 14,000 acres, and of course this Pacific Palisades fire. Where we were over the weekend, which was Brentwood, was an area where firefighters were working really hard to create this fire line that they cut around the areas that are burning, so that when those very heavy winds, where the worst is expected expected to come. And of course, the risk is not just that the winds are going to send embers just shooting out in, whatever direction the wind is hitting, but also that, like what happened when this fire started, you would have the aircraft that does a great deal of the control by dropping either fire retardant or water. If those planes and helicopters need to be grounded because of the high winds, that they have been able to, through that fire line around the fires, contain as much as possible and reduce how the flames are going to be picked up. But that said, what the authorities are saying is that this could be as bad or worse than last week in terms of the wind. And as much as they do to mop and control and contain, it's a very bad, dire warning that's coming for tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, I know firefighters are working so hard to try to get those fires contained as much as they can before those winds pick up. We just heard from LA County officials at a press conference, and they talked about over a dozen arrests that have been made in and around these fires, from looting, from burglary to possible arson. Do you know anything else about that?
Look, there are a lot of warnings, and we have noticed the presence of law enforcement, of the National Guard, which doubled their troops over the weekend. The road closures before, were kind of, you show your press pass, you get through. Now it's you show your press pass, you show your ID. I've heard reports of, some members of the press bringing in residents to areas where those residents are banned, and that was part of the concern. But of course, a big part of the concern too is looting. Another thing that we've heard from authorities over the weekend, including the Attorney General of California, Rob Bonta, is about price gouging. He reminded people price gouging is illegal, not just for items, which, people have lost everything, but when it comes to rent. Look, I covered the California housing crisis for over 3 years. This is one of the worst housing crises anywhere in the country. We're talking about Los Angeles, a city that is completely unaffordable because there's not enough building, there's a short supply of housing, and now you have areas like this, like Palisades, where there are very wealthy people who lost everything, and they're competing for the rental market. I've heard, a woman came up to me yesterday or 2 days ago and was telling me, like, look, I lost my house in Palisades, and I can't even describe, it's 4 times, 5 times the rent, how high it's gone up since the fires. All of those people competing for a very short supply of housing. And Rob Bonta reminded people over the weekend that the rate, the mark, is 10%. You cannot, if you're a landlord, increase your rent by more than 10%. It is illegal, it is price gouging, and people can spend up to a year in prison if they do this.
You see these disasters, you see the best of humanity come out, and that is the vast majority of what you see. But unfortunately, you do also see the criminals and the people who are taking advantage of the situation. Lilia Luciano, thank you so much for that report.